Why did I commit to this? When I reached chapter 4 of Women Who Run with Wolves, I had a quiet moment alone in my room and tears came. I realized I've been living with parts of myself hidden, safe, and locked away. Hi, I'm Nobi, and this is Built by Nobi. This chapter on the skeleton woman felt like a love I had been aching for but could never name, a longing that always felt impossible to put into words. The story goes like this. It's about a fisherman who goes out to sea. He casts his line hoping for fish, but instead he hooks something heavy. When he pulls it up, it's not a fish at all. It's a skeleton. The bones of a woman long tangled on the ocean floor. He panics. His heart leaps, his breath shortens. He tries to shake her loose, but she's caught fast in his line. The more he pulls, the more tangled she becomes. So he paddles hard for shore, desperate to escape. But she follows. She is dragged behind him through the water, over the rocks, across the sand, bones clattering, noise echoing, demanding attention. She is restless in her presence, not because he chose her, but because once he hooked her, he could not unhook himself. And isn't that the truth about love? At first, it feels like a catch, a prize. The relationship begins in light, in promise, in the hope of nourishment. But soon enough, bones appear. The hidden parts of a partner, the fears, the grief, the longing, the shadow. This is where so many men run. They want the romance, but not the reality. They want the beauty, but not the bones. So in this story, this man does something different. He stops. He turns around, exhausted. He collapses to the floor, and there she is, staring back at him. And instead of throwing her out, something in him shifts. He begins to untangle her, slowly, carefully, a finger, a rib, a foot. He brings order to her chaos. And in that small act of care, intimacy begins. Night falls and he sleeps, and in his sleep, a tear escapes. The skeleton woman leans forward and drinks it, thirsty for tenderness, thirsty for life. Then she reaches into his chest and takes his heart out and beats it, boom, 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 boom. And flesh covers her bone, blood fills her brain. She breathes and becomes a woman again. And when they wake, they are together, transformed based on what they've endured. And this is what love has always meant for me. The fisherman's journey is the journey of a man who learned that real intimacy is not about conquest or control, but it's about vulnerability. His running is familiar. How many men flee when love asks for too much, when the shadow shows up? But what makes him extraordinary is that he stayed. He gave his tears. He offered his heart. And through that surrender, he became more than a fisherman. He became a creator, a life giver, a partner. Through his courage and tenderness, restored not only her, but him. And for the woman, the skeleton woman is every part of ourselves we've hidden away. The grief we don't name, the hunger we bury, the shame we silence. And the story says you cannot be truly loved if you keep those bones locked away. They will surface, they will clatter, and they will demand to be seen. I remember sitting across from someone I loved and feeling myself stiffen, afraid to show the parts I thought were unlovable. The late night fears, the insecurities, the places I felt broken. For so long, I kept them hidden, thinking if I revealed them, he would run. One night, I let them out. I said, I have bones you've never seen. I have cracks you've never held. And I cried. And he didn't run. He whispered, thank you for showing me. That was my skeleton woman moment. That was the night I learned intimacy is not about perfection. It's about wholeness. But it's never one moment. It happens in many moments in relationships. And in some moments or another, you'll face the time when someone does run, when someone labels you as too much, because showing your bones is also holding up a mirror. It asks the other person to dig deep to find courage and vulnerability they may not yet have, and sometimes they cannot. When I step back and look at the first 4 chapters of this book, I see a long initiation. In chapter 1, we remember the wild woman inside us, the instinct that knows the way. In chapter 2, we confront the traps that silence her. And in chapter 3, we learn to trust intuition, that muscle of knowing. In chapter 4, we are carrying the wildness into love, where intimacy asks us to show up whole, bones and all, and to trust that the right partner will stay. And the takeaway, whether you are a woman or a man, is this: the wild in us is not to be feared, but honored. Instinct, truth, and vulnerability, these are not luxuries. They are the foundation of real love and real life. So live fully through your wild self. Let it guide you and protect you, and trust it to share without apology in relationships. Because in that place where bones are honored, where tears are drunk, where hearts are drummed back into life, freedom begins. This is where intimacy becomes resurrection. And maybe that's what we need to hear most. We are all skeleton women. We are all skeleton men. At some point, we have fragments waiting for someone to stay. But the person who must stay is you. Stay with your own bones. Stay with your own heartbeat. And from there, your whole breathing, your whole and breathing life into yourself. Let that sink in. You are whole and breathing life into self. And that self is you. The tears that the fisherman dropped, you can cry those tears yourself and nourish yourself. It's an act of releasing. It's an act of replenishing. And I existed in so many of those moments that after I read chapter 4, I had to put it down. I couldn't read it. I couldn't touch this book for like 2 or 3 weeks, I'm sure. And I returned back to it, having learned and having taken in and having nourished and having beat my drum back. And as I navigate this world, I understand how I'm going to show up with my bones and know what intimacy should look like, and be ready to desire and be ready to be vulnerable. I hope that you can take the words that have been shared and really absorb and consume them and translate them into something meaningful in your life.